Hello everybody, I'm Miek De Roeck, and as Areal said, I'm no longer the head of marketing at Antwerp Tourism and Conventions, but since a week I am now the acting director. But before last week I was still head of marketing, and I had the opportunity to have a great team behind me, and we worked together to put Antwerp back in the spotlights as a fashion capital. So, I would like to ask you, if you think about fashion and the images that pop up when you do so, what images comes first? I think it's supermodels, or maybe glamour and bling bling, and maybe even dogs with diamond PJs, I'm not sure. But if in Antwerp our fashion is different, it's avant-garde, it's unique. Not only for the sake of being showy or extreme or so, but we do have respect for craftsmanship and tradition. And our designers, they use their knowledge of materials and techniques and their sense of quality or creativity to complete all their collections. I think this one is someone who is working on leather to get a special figure in it. So Antwerp has a vibrant fashion scene. In the 50s we had our first, the Fashion Academy started. And from then on, every year, Antwerp has a lot of graduates coming out from that. In the 80s, I'm not sure if people here know them, but in the 80s we had 6 young graduates who took a van, rode to Paris to the fashion weeks to show their collections there. And after that, they established Antwerp fashion, and they were the Antwerp 6. It's Dirk Bickenbergs and Dries van Dolten and Anne Meulemeester. The Antwerp as a city took hold of that success, and in 2001 we had a big event, Fashion Landed, and we opened a fashion museum, and Antwerp was all about fashion. The years later, it became a more general approach. We had press trips, a lot of journalists coming to Antwerp to experience Antwerp fashion, but it simmered a bit down. So, but it attracted visitors. I'm sorry, should have gone further. So that's why we always say Antwerp is a USP for Antwerp, but it attracted visitors, and we had some research done, and then we saw that for 14% of our visitors, Antwerp and shopping, because we have a lot of shops also, and Antwerp fashion is one of the motivations to come to Antwerp. And if you look at the expenditure of those visitors, is that 32 million euros are spent on fashion every year. So it's quite a USP for Antwerp as a tourist destination also. And those visitors is also international visitors, it's not only domestic ones. So last year was a special year. Our academy existed for 50 years. The Fashion Museum had a Jubilee edition of the Academy's show. There was a retrospective exposition about fashion. And we, at Antwerp Tourism and Convention, we took opportunity to launch new fashion products, touristic fashion products, and an online fashion campaign. It was our goal to bring Antwerp back as a fashion capital. So, we had a few goals. First of all, we wanted to make people aware of the history Antwerp has as a fashion capital, because Antwerp breeds fashion. The story of fashion in Antwerp is authentic. It's the soul of our whole city. We have also 8,000 creative companies in Antwerp working on fashion and on graphic design and things like that. Another focus on our strategy was young talents. We had the Antwerp 6, they are our biggest export product, but we have still, Antwerp fashion is alive and kicking. Every year we have these young graduates, and that's what we want to focus on. And then a third one was, in 2009 we did a blog trip. It was with a bureau in London, and they wrote to the bloggers coming in, and that was a pity, because they had the contacts with the bloggers, and we didn't. So in 2013 we wanted to boost our community, but we wanted also to make a to have a relation with those bloggers that are important for fashion worldwide. So we launched our fashion products, and we had 3 of them. Main target groups for those fashion products were on the one side the real fashion enthusiastic, experienced fashion lovers, people who know everything about fashion. So we had to make sure that everything we make has something hidden or even unknown to those fashion lovers. And on the other hand, we had the city tripping fashion lover in mind, shopping lover, a lot of them coming from the Netherlands to Antwerp. And that means that we had to have practical information about events and latest news on new shops and things like that. So we made a website with the events and the whens and the whos of Antwerp fashion. We had 2 printed maps, still doing those, with a selection of shops in Antwerp, you know, the shops that we think represent Antwerp fashion best. And why 2 maps? One was for a very more a Russian audience with luxury brands, more common luxury brands, and the other was really the avant-garde Antwerp fashion. And then we did an app for iOS and Android, because we wanted to bring the story of the behind-the-scenes fashion in Antwerp also. So that's our website. It's responsive, so it can be seen in a proper way on screens and laptops and tablets and smartphones. The homepage has the events and the latest shopping news. It has a shop locator somewhere, I think there. So that's our website. These are the 2 maps. And then there's our app. And why did we make an app? I think it's clear for most of you that fashion is most of the times only seen in shop windows, or in things that it's a more shallow story maybe, but there's a whole story behind it, and that's what we wanted to bring. We wanted to make or to bring the story of the people behind the fashion and make that more visible. So that's what we did with the app. We went to look for the public collections of information or pictures of videos, but also for private ones. People that lived in the 80s, designers that gave us their personal collections, pictures and so on, to use in the app. And 30 fashion ambassadors did that. And they gave us all the information, we gathered it, and we brought it alive in the app. Now, the app stores are available from the whole of, from worldwide, but the app has the intention that when you come to Antwerp, you unlock secret information that you couldn't unlock when you downloaded it from where you live. The app is GPS triggered, so walking through the city enables it to unlock those secret or hidden information. And for those who want to download it, it is now free in the iOS store, because Android doesn't allow to make apps free for a period of time. After the launch of our fashion products, we teamed up with Tourism Flanders and Think Social Media to organize a blogger trip. I think, and after Ryan saying yesterday that fashion is on the 6th, on the rank 6th as a blog reading topic, I think it was for us very clear that we wanted to look for fashion bloggers. And to make sure that we got enough attention with our community that already existed from 2009 on Facebook, we launched a campaign on Facebook and Instagram. So we wanted to know the bloggers, we wanted to get in touch with them, and start to correspond. And on the other hand, we wanted to grow our community on our social media channels. So we did a step-by-step approach. Had 6 steps. And the first one was we invited 25 bloggers to come and experience a fashion trip. These are a few names, men and women. So we got ourselves a company of bloggers from US, France, Italy, Japan, Russia, Spain. In a whole, they have more than 3 million visitors monthly to their blogs and a lot of Twitter followers and Facebook fans and so on. We went for a subtop of bloggers. Since the real super fashion bloggers, like I don't know if you know Brian Boy or the Sartorialist or Garance Doré, they asked to be paid, or we didn't even get through their agencies. So a lot of them work with agencies, and it's very difficult to convince people working in an agency to have the blogger come over, apparently, even in fashion. Or a lot of those super bloggers also didn't want to come on a group blog trip. So the thing about being paid, well, we couldn't respond to that. But the personal blog trips is something we're going to follow up on this year. We made an A and B list of bloggers to invite, and we went for a mix, boys and girls. So Remco, we're not like the Italians. We have men bloggers also, even in fashion. But we also wanted to make sure that we didn't have the kind of bloggers that always make selfies of their new bags and clothes and so on. And we went to look for those bloggers who had travel subsites or travel categories in their blogs. Or even just bloggers that wrote about what they experienced, but not all fashion bloggers do that. So we had a mix of those. And the step 2 was that we made it a Facebook campaign. We made it possible for people to share a mood board on our Facebook page through an app. We noticed that there's a lot of social networks like Lookbook, or even on Pinterest, people who are interested in fashion share a lot of pictures. But since it wasn't possible to combine Pinterest and Lookbook and so on with Facebook, we turned to Instagram, because Instagram can be integrated on Facebook. And we asked our Facebook fans about what's your Antwerp style. And as a prize, the best mood boarder got a chance to come to Antwerp with the bloggers. And that turned out to be a good incentive for creative fashion souls. So how did it work? You had to like our Facebook page, and then you could join the competition. And then you had to go log in Instagram, hashtag pictures with fashion in Antwerp, load them up in the mood board, and then you could create your own style. Third step, we wanted to make the bloggers involved from the beginning. So it was the bloggers who, they made their own mood boards for a start, for inspiration for the fans, but they also got to choose the super fan that would join the blog trip. And we immediately saw that having those bloggers part of the campaign, and also making people possible to tell their story about what they thought was Antwerp style of fashion really worked. We made some noise about the campaign with Google Ads to different audiences. I think we had a lot of different adverts on different segments in the market, and we did a community content plan. And also we sent our the campaign to influencers online, 50 of them. Was a range of people who blogged, online media, things like that. The ads landed on a light gate, and then people were convinced to like our pages and participate. Our fans reacted to the posts and shared them to their friends, which is an interesting thing, because we saw, and later on I'll come back to that, that the friends of those fans got the best results in the rest of the campaign. So we made sure we talked about the competition regularly, and we kept asking our fans to join, and that was shared. The numbers aren't that big as the Emilia-Romagna numbers, but still success for us. This was a winner, Levi Newgen, who is a Dutch girl, and she has a blog of her own. She's now also invited to a lot of other blog trips around fashion. So we had a winner that was also a blogger, which was convenient. And then everybody came for our fashion trip. We did it in October because that's the moment where the fashion weeks are over in Paris and London. So it's fashion low season, if you want to say it like that. And we went behind the scenes of Antwerp fashion. So they visited ateliers of the designers, shops, the exposition with the curator. They were also accompanied by local fashion bloggers, so who told them more in-crowd information of what Antwerp fashion is. And they got interviews and gifts, and it was all very unique. And they made a lot of pictures of themselves in various places in Antwerp. And then last evening we had an event where Isabel from Think was also present. And the event was, well, we hired a stylist, we hired a photographer, we hired a makeup artist, and there were clothes of young designers, so they just had to put on the clothes, get their makeup and hair done. Even the boys got their makeup done, and then they posed and they had professional photos taken from them. And also those were actually posted in their blogs. So, what were the results? Our app costs 2.79 euros. We have an Android version and an iOS version, but it's mostly the iOS tool, giving away all the results. It's mostly the iOS version that gets downloaded and updated. The website, it's a niche website, so it says 3,200 visitors a month, but that's more than, for instance, the Rubens House in Antwerp has monthly of online visitors. So 201 mood boards were created, and the fans brought in a lot of images, and a lot of people saw them. And then there's the ad results, just showing them quickly. And Frank of Tourism of Visit Flanders will be happy now because his results were better, Frank. But then again, these are numbers we got from the agency. So, and then there was a growth of 4,500 fans in total. We had a KPI to reach 10,000 fans by the end of the campaign. So we made that. We even exceeded it, and it's still growing day by day. And then we saw that the friends of fans were the ones that created the most growth. People who already were fans of City of the Antwerp's fashion page on Facebook, their friends really got into liking the page a lot. Our bloggers made 54 posts that a lot of people read, tweets, and 700 Instagram images that we can all use, because before they came to us, we asked them permission to use the pictures they would take during the blog trip. So we now use those pictures also in the rest of our communication channels, mostly online. Due to the fashion products, the blog trip, we got also a lot of attention in online media and in offline media, internationally also domestic. And as a result, it is that every year Global Language Monitor makes a ranking of the top fashion capitals in the world. And 2 years ago we were placed 44th, and now last year we're 9th, or this year we're on the 9th place. And Global Language Monitor, they scrape the websites online worldwide to see who's most talking about. So I think they noticed, or their system noticed, that what we were doing. So we've noticed that our fashion community is still growing. We even noticed that the bloggers kept on coming, like the shoes you see here. One of the bloggers got them for free from the designers, and made everyone jealous, online and offline, in our team especially. So that was after the blog trip. So they keep on writing, they keep on coming. And we also saw that bloggers, the gifts they got during the trip, they organized little competitions between their readers and their followers to make them able to get those gifts though. So it was, they wrote about their visit, but they also did a lot of other things online. So what will our future bring? We'll keep on talking to our community online. We made a content plan. We'll keep on keeping up with that. And doing more blog trips, personal blog trips or in group. And also I think the secret behind having the right content or the right experiences for our bloggers was that we had a combination of our press department, our digital marketeer, but also our product developer who knows a lot of fashion, who is our fashion guru, if you want to say it like that, in our team. And working them together made it possible to have a unique story to tell. So you can still download the app, not on Google Play, but on iOS for free, Google Play still. And we made a little online brochure in ISU that we spread about the blog trip with all the pictures of the bloggers taken. So, thank you. It was short.
Great, thank you, Miek. Looking at the audience, see if there are comments, questions about fashion in Antwerp.
I had a question. This was during a campaign. Is it something that you want to do again, or what are your plans for that?
Well, we are going to do it again, but it's only like we would like to have Brian Boy and the Sartorialists coming to Antwerp because they have this mass audience and they match with our brand. So that's something we're gonna work on in June with the Fashion Academy show. And then a group blog trip. We're gonna do something with bloggers in Paris during the Paris Fashion Week or later on. So I think bringing them to Antwerp is one thing, but also having us coming to where they are is another thing. So it's different things like that. That's going to be in September or October. So we keep on working with them. And of course there's a lot of, regular bloggers coming in every week that write about fashion also, that we screen. And that's something we do with Visit Flanders. So it's a mix of things we do.
Your city has a traditionally very strong image of a tourism image of, let's say, Flemish architecture, diamonds, and Belgium chocolate. I mean, I used to live in Belgium in end of 90s for 4 years in Brussels, and in that time, I mean, I never heard about the 80s, how difficult was it to, was this old image penalizing, and how easy is it to get rid of this kind of image, or I suppose you partly want to also conserve this kind of how do you feel?
Well, we made some choices about what Antwerp should be about, or is about, because it's something, diamonds, there's the diamond industry, but it's a very B2B kind of sector or brand more. So it's more with intermediary organizations that we work with. Fashion and Rubens, but mostly fashion is a very leisure or a consumer-driven approach that we do. Rubens is another thing. I think in Antwerp we have fashion, Rubens, diamonds, and the port. Fashion is all about creative soul of the city, and that's something we can talk to easily with, or talk to consumers easily about. And diamonds is more, and port is more the B2B kind of stuff. And Rubens is another niche. People who are coming for Rubens, maybe they are interested in fashion also, especially the shopping part. But I think in the following years we are going to work on Rubens also as a leisure theme, but on other segments, on other people, just to make sure we have different segments.
Different kind of segments.
Yeah, that's what we do. Depends on our audience.
Maybe a question that I have for you is that one of the things I noticed in your presentation, and I've seen it in other presentations as well, is that for a lot of campaigns we seem to create a lot of different channels, a lot of different hashtags that vary from the main domain that we as DMOs usually have. So could you elaborate a little bit on what made you choose to go with separate websites, separate hashtags?
I think one of the things is that if you have a large media mass media campaign, the chances are bigger that a lot of people see your hashtags more frequently. But in the approach we have, I think if we target fashion segments, if we target people loving fashion, coming to shop, I think fashion in Antwerp is something we can claim and we can work on. And that's why we did that. The whole fashion communication is something, well, people have the website, they can download the app, they can come to Antwerp and shop, and they have all those separate communication tools they can use, and that's why we do fashion in Antwerp, because it's so. But then again, in the next few years we have a new digital strategy coming on, and we are thinking of integrating the website and the other channels more in our general story, because now it's correct, it's more, but then we try to get more out of it for our general story.
Yeah.
That's for the next year.
Yeah, because you mentioned fashion is very much in your soul, so in that sense it would make sense, or it feels it would make sense to have it as one.
But if you go to our visit website, you will also see that fashion is there.
Yeah.
But for the real, behind the scenes story, or for the real detailed story, you can click through to our fashion website, and it's more a branding or website.
Clear, thank you.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
And I hate to go back to this because I mentioned so much about the Daily Mail in yesterday's presentation. The Daily Mail does do something where if you flash on any of the celebrity photos down the side, a picture will come up which allows you to go transactional and buy the outfit that the celebrity is wearing or another outfit that's like it. And I'm kind of thinking there's a really golden opportunity for you to have your projects funded by the fashion industry if you start making the blog posts transactional, that if people hover over the outfits and the clothing, and that maybe there's an opportunity that you can get all of this subsidized a bit from the partners that you're working with.
Yeah, but that's a great idea, only we're 100% publicly funded, so...
Darn.
Yeah, sometimes it's not something we don't want to do, or even won't do, because I think in the end everybody will end in a better cooperation with all those people working in the field, have all the shops and so on. But at this moment I don't think our politicians are ready to do that. So, but it's a good idea. It's something, it should be, could be.
Any last questions? Great. Thank you so much, Miek.